city, your podcast.
All right, now we're going to talk about the Steelers, and joining me is Carlo Guadagnino. He will be on this week's Back to the Berg as well. That comes out Friday, but it's like kind of like my old partner in crime. You know, you talk sports. He taught me a few things. I taught him a few things, and now we're going to do what we love to do, and that's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, Carlo, Steelers have the Bills this Sunday. What's your broad outlook right now? And then we'll dive deep into the details.
I think the broad outlook has to be, it's great that we feel that we have an established running back, which is nice. It's the first time we're coming into a season minus James Conner and with the changes that have happened. Everybody that's talked shit on Ben, I think we need to pump the brakes. That's the most healthy I've seen Ben Roethlisberger come into a camp ever.
Listen, I remember watching Ben last year, and every snap, I was like, "Oh my God, he's gonna die.
He's old. He's over."
This year, it's like, all right, we got the grizzled vet back. He's in the best shape of his career. What could happen? It's
as far as we know, as Steeler fans, and from what those guys on the Fan and some other shows tell us, this is it. This is the last ride for Ben. And I also think could be, if it is the last ride for Ben, could be the last ride for Mike. I could see Mike with his contract or with his career being so associated and intertwined with Ben for the whole length of his coaching career. I definitely we could see some big shakeups at the end of this year.
You say that makes me think that I could see him wanting to turn, if Ben does leave, I could see Mike wanting to stay and wanting to turn Dwayne Haskins into his project. He's
and
like him saying, I can do this without Ben Roethlisberger, and I can build a former first-round bust into the next franchise quarterback. I could see him going on that endeavor for the next 4 years if it happens, but I think that's all he would give it is 4 years. And then if it didn't work, I think he would move on, and the Rooneys would move on as well.
Well, I think the crazy thing about Dwayne is you get him for, I mean, I hate to call it a bargain. You got him at the bottom of the bargain barrel, but you got him at
a win-win situation.
You have no loss here. I question the decision on, and you talked about it earlier on your show, the first show, the QB2 battle. I don't think was given as much attention as it should have been. I think Mason walked in and it was already his job.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anything from Dwayne Haskins that didn't see that mentality of, wow, this is my second chance with this organization. And like the Steelers or hate the Steelers, the organization itself is pretty successful with quarterbacks. Yeah. We can go back, and I know you're going to appreciate this. You can go back. We got Mike Tomczak, Bubby Brister, Tommy the Gun Maddox. You know, we've had.
And hey, I mean, so I did something with another YouTuber that will be coming out probably in a few weeks into the season, but we watched a game where Neil O'Donnell was the quarterback, and that was my first time watching Neil O'Donnell play. Was watching that game back, and I was like, I didn't know this guy was actually pretty damn good.
I'm going to age myself a little bit, Cody. My first experience with Neil O'Donnell was him breaking my heart against Dallas.
And that's where I always had my association with him before.
But he was a solid quarterback.
Exactly. And I didn't know that. I was always like, oh, why didn't we have Cordell in there the whole time?
And I think Cordell, they kind of wasted a little bit with yes, he was a quarterback coming out of college, but that slash position, he was so far ahead of what he was. But not to get off track, we'll get back to this.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk Steelers all day, but we got to focus on this Sunday.
Them lures, they get me going. They get my blood. It's that Pittsburgh blood. It just starts to.
It's that Italian Pittsburgh blood. You're like, come on.
I think that Pittsburgh fans should be really excited about this offensive line. I think that the starting five up front are going to they took a lot of beating last year. It's good to see 53, not the same 53, but it's good to see 53 back in the lineup.
But it seems like what's coming out of camp in this first few days, I guess, of practice is that he may not be with the starting five. There's still a bit of a battle there. And we got to watch that. I don't think anybody, I was listening to Around the 412, their premiere episode on DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network.
Congratulations to all them guys too, by the way.
Yeah, congrats to them. I was listening to them earlier today, and they said what I was thinking. No one wants to see JC Hassenauer as a starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Nope.
Because that would mean you would move Kevin Green to guard, which doesn't really need to happen. We drafted him to be the center of the future.
Let him play it.
Exactly.
You know,
and I mean, obviously we have the other things on the line that worry me are Zach Banner's injury. It's unfortunate. There's no real details out on that, actually.
No.
And I think it's just they don't think he's ready off of that ACL tear. It's been a year, but it could be him. It could be the team. Both parties, I think, just want him at 100% and not 98.
And when you go from the line, and Banner, the shame of it is before Banner's injury, last year, he looked like, wow, this guy's coming. This is a position. This is his position to lose. He goes down with the injury. And I think you're right. I think there's a lot of, we don't want to put him out there if he's not top of his game, because we saw in the glimpses last year before the injury, when we got to see him fully get that role, dude can play some football, and he likes to hit people. He's a ground and pound blocker, which brings back and it's going to lead into my next one. You got a nice running back behind you that I think it's a great compliment between what famous Amos Zaraway, Willie Parker were to each other, what Le'Veon Bell was to the Steelers, with that confidence, that subtle, the pauses behind the line, the let the play develop in front of me. And then you get the fact that he can catch the ball in the backfield. He can block. He can, you have a running back now that Ben Roethlisberger has a lot of confidence in. And we've seen in prior years, when Ben Roethlisberger has confidence in his running back, the rest of the team benefits. Yep. Freiermuth, I believe, should be, if he's not, he should be the number one. I think I've seen a couple different, it's Ebron.
I haven't looked at the depth chart as of late, but I've heard things. I think I heard it actually. I think Ebron may have said it in an interview that he wants to play more of like a slot role like Juju did last year. And we could see that. We could see Ebron in the slot with Freiermuth at the tight end. I don't know that Ebron deserves the slot spot if that's what he wants, because these things.
Yeah, they don't seem to work.
So, yeah, you got to use them. And that's something that he's got to prove yet again in his career that he can do. With Freiermuth, you've had Ben already describe him as, he had the quote. He said, he reminds me of another great Steelers tight end that I used to play with.
He looks like another tight end I once played with before. And we know that guy still gets, I don't care who you are as a tight end, you're going to hear Heath get yelled across the stadium.
And that's, I think very quickly, that's going to go from Heath to Moose.
Or that might be, that might be a nice little.
I think that's what he wants. I think he said it. He said, he's like, I don't want to be called Baby Gronk. He's like, people have called me Moose in the past. And I was like, that's it. Just call him Moose.
I like it. I'm about it. I also really think that on the offensive side of the ball with the wide receiving core, you got a lot of people that are out there to prove things. Chase Claypool's out there to prove that last year wasn't a fluke. Deontay Johnson's out there to prove that the guy that has hands is the best guy. That he thinks he's the best receiver on the team. And in my opinion, he is the best receiver on the team. And then Juju took a pay cut to come here, to come back for 1 year, which either means that
some would argue that point. Not me, some.
But I think that if you're Juju, you're looking at it from two different avenues. One, I think the with the salary cap going up next year, you're going to have a lot of money come into wide receivers. And again, Juju, I love you, buddy, but there's some game time situations where these things right here, when the ball is here, you have in big situations.
He has that unfortunate reputation. You're right.
Then on the defensive side with Ingram being brought in
Melvin Ingram.
The secondary, with it being Joe Hayden's last go, with him tweeting out the whole last dance. I just think that you're going to get a lot of, it's going to be a Steelers D. I don't know if we go back to the days of the big nasty D, but
no, it's not going to be Blitzburg-esque. It's not going to be it's not going to be Steel Curtain-esque. I think it's going to be more of that Palomalu, Kiesel, like that era. I think that's what we're going to kind of see
on it at all. But I'm not really that upset with the Bud Dupree departure. I'm okay with it.
The thing about it is, and I don't want to get too far into it because I do want to talk about this game.
Yes.
But the thing about Bud Dupree is we couldn't have two of the top paid defensive ends in the league on the same team. So you had to make a choice. And as of now, looking at their track records, TJ was the better one to try and keep.
Yes.
Because Bud Dupree is an all-star. He's an all-pro at this point in his career, but it took him about 2.5, 3 years to get there.
And getting TJ to be opposite of him.
Exactly. They complement each other.
Minka's going to be up for a contract. So you have some things that you had to do. Yeah. But so Thursday, tomorrow, for up air in Buffalo.
No, I told you it's on Sunday.
Oh, that's right. I did that before.
Look at us. We're the injured at the bar talking about when's the game. Oh, it's Thursday. No, it's Sunday. What are you talking about?
Well, up there in Buffalo on Sunday afternoon, I think that that offense for Buffalo scares me. There's a lot with that. I'm not saying that I'm afraid for our defense. I'm just saying that offense has a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen has really, and I've been a big fan from the beginning. I thought he was the best quarterback that was taken that year for what down the road his career was going to be. And he has shown that for what he has done to Buffalo just in a very small sample size.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said last week, I put him and Mahomes at the top of this new golden era of the QB.
Because they represent both sections. Mahomes represents mobile and athletic and can do these crazy things. And Josh Allen represents that typical quarterback, wants to stand in the pocket. But, oh, wait, when he decides he wants to get out,
get out of his way. Get the hell out of his way.
Over his shoulder. He's not going to go for the slide. And I like that about him. I think our defense is going to have a challenge. I really do. I as a Steeler fan, it does make me nervous that's who we drew in the first game of the year. I'm excited because, and we touched on it, you had to pause me, but there is this big controversy that, this is going to be the year Mike Tomlin has a losing season and Ben Roethlisberger's washed up and the elbow's going to die in week 10. I don't see it. I think we're going to see a typical Steelers game. I think that we're going to see ground and pound for the early going, get Najee the ball as much as he can, get him acclimated to, this isn't preseason. This is, you're our guy. But you also have the ability with him blocking with the tight ends that we talked about and if you move Ebron to the slot and you have the wide receiving core that you have. Plus, the Steelers love to do the whole 1, 2, hey, Najee, go out here and I'm just going to hit you and you go.
Yeah.
And Ben hasn't had that in a couple years. Since Lev left, he has not had that running back that when you get him the ball, when he blocks and releases and we get him the ball, he can create. And I'm excited to see it. I think I don't want to go out and say that I think the Steelers start 1-0 this season. I'm still.
Yeah, this is a wait and see for me.
It's definitely, as a Steeler fan, we've seen this build up before, and I don't buy preseason. As Steeler fans, the preseason for the
especially
Steelers,
this past preseason, we didn't have every starter on the team yet. We didn't have Joe Schobert, who will most likely be pairing up with Devin Bush. We didn't have him, and he didn't play in the last preseason game when we had him. And then you have, I don't think he's going to be a starter, but he will be relief for us in the secondary, Akello Witherspoon. We just picked him up. So he's just now this week 1 of the season, learning this defense.
For a fifth round, was it 5th round or 6th round draft?
5th round pick.
Amazing. And what Colbert has done this year with the not having the financial wiggle room because of the conversation about other contracts that need to come up, but knowing what's on the horizon, these guys have pulled in people for I think Schobert's a 6th round pick. You get a 6th round pick or you give a 6th round pick to Jacksonville for him.
Yeah.
5th round pick to Seattle for
Witherspoon.
You're taking pieces that they're good players, and you're going to put them into a system that works for them. It's an exciting time to be a Steelers fan. The only thing I will say is anybody that thinks Ben Roethlisberger was full of shit when everybody said he came into camp and looked great. I am getting older and my eyes don't work. Go to your nearest optometrist, get your eyes worked, then go to a psychiatrist, talk about whatever your problems are, figure them out. But I don't think that I think this is it. I really do. I buy that this is it. I think he wants to ride out. He's good. Move on. I would not be surprised if we get to the end of the season and we already know what the decision is. Because I don't think Ben came into camp mentality of farewell tour. I think he came into camp as, this is year 18. Here we go.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what I think happened. And that's why I'm not leaving out hope, but I see the possibility of him doing that last year on his contract, because that's how they manipulated everything, that his money will be on that last. It won't be a lot, but there's money in that last year, that next year. I could see him and I said it in the first episode of KE Radio, I said, if he doesn't go out up to his standards, he'll be back. We may not want him back. He'll be back.
Well, that's the other thing. People got to remember, everybody has their opinions of Ben.
Yeah.
But we all had a conversation a couple months ago. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play football this year. Was Aaron Rodgers going to give back $35 million in a signing bonus? No, he was not.
Exactly.
Ben Roethlisberger going to leave money on that table? No, he is not. But yeah, I mean, I think it goes back and forth. I think we get a nice old school AFC East versus AFC North good battle. And, even if Buffalo comes out with the win, and I'm all for Bills Mafia, go through some tables, have a great time on Sunday up there. But it's all about the Lurs. It's all about them,
Exactly. And I mean, I want to touch on real quick. We were talking before this that we weren't sure who all was on that front 7 for Buffalo, who was even on their defense for that matter. And looking at it, like you just said, it's going to be hard-nosed AFC football. It's going to be because we have to worry about Ed Oliver, and we have to worry about Tremaine Edmonds, both of them in the run game the most. That's what we have to worry about the most. Then passing wise, you got to worry about Jordan Poyer and Tre'Davious White, who are pretty dominant these past 2 years, and they've solidified their place in the league, and were part of the reason that team went to the AFC Championship last year. I think those guys are going to show out. We might see some new people emerge on that defense. I know a guy that I've had my eyes on since he got drafted was AJ Epensa, I think is how you say his last name.
I think that is
out of Iowa. And that's a guy that I was like, I'd love to have him as a Pittsburgh Steeler. just watching his highlight reel from college, I was like, this guy's damn good. So I think that's a guy who could, hopefully he doesn't against us, but I could see him emerge in the league sooner rather than later.
Week 2, every one of them guys on the defense have a field day because Buffalo's my second team. Week 1, don't have a field day. Get boo-boo belly, get some sickness, not sick, but just sick enough that you just, the butterflies are going and you don't want to, there's another one that their secondary, this Buffalo team to me is very similar to the post Cordell Stewart Steelers, where that secondary really started to find pieces, not putting anybody in that same category with Polamalu, but you have a solidified back end and now you're working this way. Yeah. Buffalo has a solidified half of the field when you split it. They have a pretty decent secondary, I would say. It's a dangerous secondary. There's a lot of things that can be created. The thing that if I'm a Buffalo fan, you should be worried, or they should be worried about, Fitz. I'm talking to you.
Our buddy Fitz.
The run game. I love the Steelers matchup this week specifically. Run offense versus run defense, because you mentioned 2 guys. I don't know that they've seen a Najee Harris. I don't know that we've seen a Najee Harris yet. Like, what he did in Alabama was one thing, and we all know that. College is a completely different ball game. That's why the Alabama plays Cleveland or whoever the worst team. It's ridiculous. It's a college to pros is completely different. But the unknown, as us as fans, broadcasters, etc., and you and I take this very seriously, we watch these games. We watch things from a playing football. We watch and film and we break it down. I don't know that we've seen a running back like this kid. I really don't. I would compare it to how we've never seen a guy like Le'Veon Bell. Yeah.
This is like the next evolution of the running back. He is the next evolution of
he's NFL the best version of I almost want to give him like that D'Angelo Williams Lev Bell 1-2 punch, where Lev was suspended for 4 weeks for doing something he wasn't supposed to do. Shame on him. And D'Angelo went in there and was the best running back in the league for 4 straight weeks and then went away. You have both of those aspects. I think Najee can run through you. I don't think he would like to run through you. I think we saw in one of the preseason games where an open field juke move made, I don't know what that poor safety or corner was out there. It
was like 10 yards away from him.
He's going to be on highlight tapes for the rest of his life of getting ankles broken, and the guy was 10 yards away from him. I mean, this kid is special. He's going with a no-doubter. Whether you like Ben or not, he's a no-doubt Hall of Famer. The big question mark, and it's as a Lure fan, we've gone into it every year for many years, the same question. You know, I love the skill guys, but that offensive line down there, I don't know what they're doing on the North Shore. I don't know. I'm confused. So that's my biggest question mark for the Steelers. I don't think the defense is a question mark at all. I think we know exactly what defense we're going to see from a Steeler point of view. Buffalo's a question mark. It really is on the defensive side, because they're still, from what I talked to Fitz a lot, and he's very.
I was about to bring that up because I have not yet gotten a text or a Snapchat from him, and I'm like, has he forgotten?
No,
has he forgotten about me?
Or Wednesday. It depends on which day he thinks the game's on. Because I would have texted you Wednesday and said, "Hey, you're ready for the game tomorrow." So.
Oh man. Well, before we get out of here, let's try and make some predictions. Like we said, we think this is gonna be a hard one to figure out. I have mine. I don't know if you have yours.
I have it.
All right.
I even have a score, which is abnormal for me because I don't normally do it.
I was thinking of a score as well. Go ahead.
I got 28-21. Pittsburgh, last drive of the game. And it's Claypool that sets it up, with Freiermuth being the one that catches the game-winning touchdown with probably about 30 seconds left. And there's some excitement at the end where the CBS broadcasters are, oh, here we go. It's
going to be the witching hour game where it's it's going to mess up somebody's bet. Is what
Somebody's
it's
going to be very upset. But I got 28-21, and I think I'm gonna go with the Steelers. And I think Najee has a big day, not a huge day to where everybody's like, oh my god, but it's going to be a solid NFL debut.
Yeah.
I definitely think the wide receivers are going to all of them. I think Deontay, Claypool, Washington. If Ebron moves into that slot position, I think that actually works to his advantage because he's a terrible blocker. And I'm not saying that because I'm a pro athlete. I'm saying that because the eye test never fails and he can't block a soul. So it's really what Steelers defense shows up. Do we get the guys that it's a lull in the first half and they come in, or is it the stifling first half, give the offense the opportunity, and then kind of wait to see the rest of the game?
Yeah.
But I like the Lurs. I don't go against them.
And I gotta do the same. I people are gonna think I'm a homer over here, but I'm gonna up the score. I'm gonna say Pittsburgh 31, Buffalo 24. I think both teams are gonna have to their first drives, maybe second drive for Buffalo. They're going to have to kick a field goal just because these defenses are going to be too much. I think they're just going to be too much for each other. And then eventually they'll figure them out. I could also see it with that score, Ben having a classic comeback game. I think that's the way I have it written up in my head. It's just, they're going to go up 17-0 going into the half. Or something like that, 17-3.
Something to where we're all Steeler fans sitting here going,
it's over.
Oh, no, not
that. Bitch. Throw a terrible towel at the TV.
I got one more guy I got to throw a shout out to, and he is a recent, he won a job for the Steelers. And when these guys see the show on Friday, they will understand why I'm going to do this. But Christian Kuntz out of Chartiers Valley, congratulations to him. It's well earned. He's been invited multiple times.
Yeah, he's been to camp multiple times.
Did a little stint with Denver for a little bit. I'm excited to see him. And my favorite Steeler nickname, I think, since the bus is Big Papa Pump. Well,
hell yeah.
Big Papa Punt. I think will play a huge role because I think it's not Jordan Berry.
He's going to make it difficult down the stretch, I think, for the Buffalo offense to get anything going.
And in the land of Boz, anything's possible. We watched a guy not miss a field goal for 2 years, and then we watched him miss almost every attempt for like 2 weeks, where people went, "Oh my God, we got to go. Where's Jeff Reed? Is he beating up a towel dispenser and sheet? Can we get him back for like just a little bit? So that's where I think special teams, it really is going to be the determining factor. And I'm looking for the Lurs to come out with a W, start at 1-0 and move on to week 2.
And I'm going 31-24 myself. So that's all we got about the Steelers. Let's move on to what we got next. Carlo, thanks for joining me, brother.
Thank you for having me, brother. It's been a pleasure. Make sure you guys tune in on Friday because it's probably the only time I'll be on the other side of the chair and interviewed. So
hell yeah, back to Berg Friday. All right, man. Thank you.
Have a good one.